Jimmy Dore comes up, I always wonder why you never bring up your interview with Donegal Goldthwait Young a while back about her book, Irony and Outrage. Jimmy is very obviously practicing outrage comedy, which she designates as a right-wing form of comedy, much more similar to Rush Limbaugh than to Jon Stewart. This might be merely an aesthetic fact at first, but it has almost certainly created a circular feedback loop where he attracts a right-wing audience and shifts his content consciously or not to please them. I think that dynamic is happening with a bunch of the people that we talk about. And to some extent, the more, again, it's the same thing with Dave Rubin. Like, yes, every now and then, if we get a good Dave Rubin clip, we do it because he's so dumb and it's fun to watch. And I think increasingly that's going to be, the dynamic with somebody like Jimmy Dore and with somebody like even like with Glenn Greenwald to a certain extent. Like, their audience is increasingly right-wing audience. Mm-hmm. And in that instance, it's like, okay, these are, they're, Steven Crowder types and we can.
That's what I was going to say. It's like, it's more Crowder. Yeah. As Misfit Black Girl says, more Crowder, more Limbaugh than anything I see on the left. I
mean, but the point being is that the urgency to deal with them becomes less.
Yeah. Because
or at least the disposition towards them becomes different. Like, you can see increasingly that, who their audience is, and that's fine. They're going to make it, plenty of money that way, and God bless them. That is, typical for the right. The nature of the content is more helpful. They have more backing. They have more opportunity to, to get paid to go on to, Rumble or whatever it is.
And it's a different flavor too, because then, just like Rubin, as you say, you can say I'm a part of the left for a little while. But Glenn's time is running out in that area. Jimmy's is, I think he's got more runway to still pretend to be a leftist.
It's true that Jimmy Dore's audience has an increase in right-wingers, but it's not necessarily true that Jimmy Dore's audience has become increasingly right-wing. It's not a Steven Crowder crowd, pardon the pun. It's a group that's become aware of Jimmy Dore through his Tucker Carlson appearances. And I go to the Jimmy Dore chat, and I tell dumbasses like that they're so stupid, they only understand the fact that Jimmy Dore is attacking Democrats, so in their mind, it makes Jimmy Dore honest. In reality, Jimmy Dore is attacking the Democrats because they're behaving like right-wingers, like they're dumbasses. And that's why, and why is it Jimmy Dore's fault that he has right-wingers in his audience to begin with? Jimmy has the potential of converting them, but Sam Seder is a propagandist and is doing his best to splinter any possible left-wing cohesion. Again, Sam Seder thinks that Jimmy Dore fans think that they're leftists, but are being fed right-wing structures and right-wing framing. That's what he said. But Sam Seder won't be specific, and he won't say what it is exactly. Sam Seder doesn't think that it's possible that we came to our opinions about politics before even we knew who the hell Jimmy Dore is.
But there's a shelf life for that gig, but it's profitable along the way.
Yeah, but the biggest concern that I have is more just like how much it's a different audience that thinks that they're leftists, mm-hmm. and is getting fed right-wing structures, right-wing framing. When you think you're a leftist and suddenly like you're just getting fed libertarianism.
Suddenly,
why
you think
am I
the
defending
Boogaloo...
Bitcoin all of a sudden?
Right, exactly.
I love the Boogaloo Boys, and I have more in common with them than with the Squad for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit more of an anarchist, but
okay, all right, we'll get it. So let's get into it. Let's get in. First of all, tell people how you got your name. Now, I found out that your parents were hippies.
Yeah, I was raised in the middle of nowhere next to a little pagan hippie commune that I used to go to. I used to be an environmental activist my whole life. So, yeah, kind of not what you would expect for most people.
Wow. Okay. So, and how did you get the name?
We had to come up with kind of our own names on the commune. We didn't want to go by our own names, so everybody had their witchy, hippie D&D names essentially. So I came up with that when I was like 13. I've used it ever since.
So now that is not. So are you okay? So that is not what people think of when they think of right-wing militia types or the Proud Boys or Boogaloos or anything. That's not what they think. They don't think of a guy brought up on a commune, got to pick his own name, his parents are hippies, and he spent most of his life as an environmental activist. That's not what people think of. So how did you go from that to Boogaloo Boys?
Oh, that's just because kind of the whole thing the media doesn't talk about with the Boogaloo Boys is we're more of like the libertarian Green Party militia. Like if I wanted to join a regular militia that flies Confederate flags and it's a bunch of fat old white dudes, that's there. But we kind of formed out of a bunch of libertarians and anti-war activists and everything wanting a place of our own. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the colorful Hawaiian print and, a lot of our members being LGBT and, across the entire, every ethnicity, every spectrum. And we wanted more of a home for ourselves. So we kind of grew out of not wanting to be the traditional right-wing conservative white dude militia.
So you're not about hating gays, and you don't hate the gays?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I was told that.
Matter of fact, I'm not the most straight man myself. So.
Oh well, you better. Okay, watch out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's about nihilism, and it's the worst kind of accelerationist, because I can understand the concept of someone being an accelerationist if they have, at the end of that acceleration, a vision for a radical revolution. I may disagree with that posture, but at least I can understand it. These guys are accelerationists to nihilism. There is no ideology.
It's
here.
Just anti-elite, and anyone who's on television's an elite, and anyone who's in
Well, but whoever's not them at that.
Yeah, so TYT got a huge payday. The majority report is a part of the TYT network, so they got a huge payday. I'm thinking because they won't go into the specifics. They won't go into student loan forgiveness. They won't go into $15 minimum wage. They won't go into Medicare for all. I work in a hotel. I make $14.70 an hour, okay? I have to pay $250 per paycheck for insurance. They won't go into these realities. It's very, very sick and disgusting because they pretend to be on the left. I'm so tired of those terms. On the you're on. Shut the hell up. Let's just talk about the issues. $15 minimum wage. It should be 20. We should be going for 20 by now. That was like the Bernie Sanders campaign started 6 years ago. So, as long as the majority report keeps annoying me, I'm going to keep making these videos. Thank you, Sam, because the more horrible videos you do, I'm going to keep coming up with responses, you dumbass.
Is elite.
Right.
Right? I mean, look, Peter Thiel is the elite, right? And so...
Well, he's not allowed to say his name.
Well, but the point is that, look, we can see what's happening with Glenn. You can talk about the elites and the CIA and this and that, but what about Palantir? You don't think these are the same people?
Hey, he's just trying to decentralize the CIA.
Right. I mean, honestly, for Glenn and for Jimmy to a certain extent, for all of these people, there's no ideological basis to what they're talking about. They're just saying that and they try to make it like we're not partisan. We're not about. It's just they still have a team. And their team is just doing just as reprehensible things as the team that they rail on. It's just that's my team. I mean, honestly, I don't want to quote the Who, but it's like meet the new boss.
Yeah, they serve the team that they rail against.
Right. Well, I mean, on some level, I mean, it's.
You don't think it serves elites to go on Rumble and?
Wait, they don't. They're not attacking elites. They're attacking a specific set of elites that they're not aligned with.
They serve that what they do serves the interests of who they purport to be attacking.
He doesn't purport to be attacking Thiel. You know, he's just like, they're the good big tech
the money
monopolists.
Interests. Right. Okay. All right. Right.
I mean, I do think it's funny to like say you're a civil libertarian and then say what the Larry Krasner race is missing is this story about how he's actually selling out cops and actually we need to be more friendly to cops. Like, I don't know.
Who said that?
That was Greenwald. He posted a guest article by someone saying, being very pro-cop and saying Larry Krasner was responsible in part for the rise in crime.
I also hear Glenn's having an interesting time trying to thread the needle of Biden's withdrawal, but really it's the Democrats' fault.
Well, that's the thing is like Glenn was hitting Biden during the primary because he was tough on crime Biden and crime bill Biden, and then now he's doing this stuff about how the left is ignoring like communities that say they want more police funding. Like the through line there is anti-Democrat.
Right. As Sam says, there's no ideological underpinning to it.
Did you hear the part at the end there? One of Sam Seder's minions says, and I quote, "Through the line, they're anti-Democrat." Sam likes to say that Jimmy Dore gave the game away. No, your fucking minion dumbass gave the game away. He let it be known that the majority report is there to support the Democratic Party, and Emma Vigeland chimed in, saying there's no ideological underpinning to it. It's the opposite of that. Sam Seder is there to support the Democratic Party. Jimmy Dore has a real socialist ideology. Political parties change platforms, get corrupted, and change over time. Just look at the Republican Party. The party of Lincoln, the party that freed the slaves, became the party that was anti-gay marriage. Ideologies are concrete ways of thinking. They don't change.